Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman with the DC Camp, a branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. But first and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rekah HaKodash, and of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who do well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways. All right, week in, week out, sometimes more than once a week. Not to mention the numerous amount of videos that are uploaded on the daily, all right, that further assists in us getting this word out and spreading it across 4 corners. And we do this, all right, and trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect of our people, all right. So, this is the copyright disclaimer. It says under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Fair use. All right. So here, this is the site, Dark Brandon, and what we have here is a classic case of, we said earlier when he took the oath of office earlier in the year that, you know, the first month, 2 months, it's 3 months, it's still a case of buyer's remorse, but at this point, just under 11 months in, all right, even some of the most diehard Trump fanatics are starting to realize that they got played. It is a beautiful thing from my perspective, of course, as probably a lot of you also. It's a beautiful thing to see, all right? But this is also a classic case of be careful what you wish for, all right? And a lot of it was done, of course, in order to hurt, or wishing, of course, in order to hurt us. And it's backfired in a major way, because I'm going to play a little bit of that interview he did with Laura Ingraham, and he flat out told, and a lot of people are reacting to it, a lot of his voters are reacting to that very interview, and they're saying, you know what, fuck him, but it's too late, he's got 3 more years. 3 more years, oh man, the hate you give, right? Anyway, again, this is Dark Brandon, and they have a saying, this is the whole point of this site here, the leopard's eating my face. And that's what it actually means. It means shit backfired on you. Alright, so here we go.
Hey there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. You know, we'd like to keep digging into these commentators from the right who are speaking out against Trump. You really saw a giant wave of them happen after he introduced the 50-year mortgage, after the Laura Ingraham interview, which was a train wreck, also trying to get a bunch of Chinese students who are really just going against all of MAGA's ideas and principles. We're actually seeing MAGA start to break up with them, like we saw with Heavy Duty Country in this other video. We'll link it at the end. With this video, though, we'd like to look at Brett Cooper, and Brett Cooper was formerly of the Daily Wire, that was Ben Shapiro's network, and her and Ben Shapiro are beefing out. She actually just aligned herself with Nick Fuentes. I believe she told an American lawmaker to move to Israel and that he'd be happier there. Nonetheless, she got a lot of backlash from other folks on the right, the more traditional right. We can see the video she made, Is MAGA Dead? 50-year mortgages aren't the American dream, either her kind of lashing out or striking back in revenge, and we're here for it. Either way, let's dive into the next MAGA commentator and see why she's no longer.
The system is broken. America's founders built our government upon the separation of powers.
MAGA.
So I spent last week in New York City doing a bunch of stuff with Fox News, and on every single show that I went on, I was asked, can you believe that Zohran Mamdani won? Yes, I can. That's literally not surprising to me at all. He won for the same reasons that Donald Trump won back in 2016 and in 2024. And they are unfortunately now 2 sides of the same exact coin. Because the number one issue in 2024, I'm sure we all remember because it is still an issue today, the number one issue in the last election was the economy. COVID, lockdown after lockdown after lockdown, Biden, the endless wars, they were draining us. They are still draining us. It is why millions of Americans who were independent or on the left said, okay, fine, I will vote for the big bad orange man. I will dip my toe over party lines because hopefully trying something new will work. Hopefully my dollar will go further if I vote for the businessman.
Okay, so lots of ideas to unpack there, but I think the most important idea is near the end where she kind of lands the plane, where she's really just trying to justify or rationalize why either she or so many other people voted for Donald Trump. Now, granted, her logic then continues to talk about a businessman, and, it doesn't take a fucking moron. The guy owned a bunch of casinos, bankrupted them all. He personally filed for bankruptcy 6 times. Now, if you were going to apply for a job and there's 2 companies across the street from each other, one of them, the business owner's been around for 30 years owning that same business. The other one, the guy's been bankrupt 6 times, just opened last week. Which one do you want to work at? You don't even need to get to critical thinking. We don't even need logic. This is common sense. And that's a term those on the right like to think they fucking embrace it. And so this is one of the real challenges with winning elections today. The problems are so severe, they're going to need real solutions. And
you voted for a hustler, a scam artist. Any other way you want to put it. This is why you think he was selected to do this. All right, he's so good at lying. All right. You gotta. How? It's questions I'm talking about you MAGA idiots. It's questions you didn't ask yourself before you voted for this asshole. How did he get out of 34 felonies? How? And they give us hell just for having one. And yet this guy, he's still contesting out here that they're not going to grant his wish, of course. This woman, he was found guilty of fondling and what did he do? Slander or some shit against her. And she won like $75 million or some shit like that. All right, he's trying to get that overturned, but it's not looking good. But I mean, ask yourself that question, and who would have the power to get him out of that? And that being said, don't you think he would owe someone like that? Yeah. And plus, with his health, it doesn't look like he's gonna,
Donald Trump is a fucking con artist. So this idea that this guy was going to design complex solutions for complex problems, chick, you're high.
But guys, here we are a year after the election, and very little has changed. And that's hard for me to say because I'm somebody who does enjoy Trump. I voted for him. I put all of my energy behind him. I genuinely believe in him and have believed in him. And while...
And the sad thing out of this is some of you jakes. Now, of course, some of us, not that we voted, we just wish that this asshole would come back in office because we want to see this shit just crash. And we know he was the perfect candidate, and we'd have some, good comedy comedic moments, and he has not disappointed so far. All right? But we didn't put our faith in it. And that's what a lot of you did. Not only these Edomites, not only these other immigrants, but a lot of you jakes. And that's Isaiah 30 and chapter 30 and chapter 31. And the warning of the consequences of that in Isaiah 36 verse 6. Alright? which will culminate in Revelation 13, verses 16 and 17. You put so much faith, and especially a place like this that has put foot to our asses for centuries, and not even ashamed of it. Alright? They're not interested in restoring us. They're glad to see us on the bottom rung. It makes them feel better about themselves. That's a big part of all of this. For the most part, are people that, hey, just wanted to, despite all that's happened to them, just have a chance at making a way for ourselves. No. And it's going to be like that. If we're here 5,000 years, 10,000 years, don't you get it? These are our enemies. These are our mortal enemy. Let me put that in. Yeah, let's look that up. Alright, whoops, what did I do that for? Right, this is set up. This is predestination, mortal enemy. An enemy who wants to kill you. Genesis 27th chapter, verse 41. Let's start at 38. Mortal enemy. Is that not what Esau said about Jacob after his father died? Let's go get it. Because we hear them, we like to tell you about these things, we like to show them. Because this is all about not what I say, but what the scriptures say. This is Genesis 27. And of course, this is Isaac blesses Jacob. And it tells you in the Apocrypha that he put by Esau. Alright? Because in Genesis 25, he sold his birthright. I'm going to start at 38. This is Genesis 27:38. And Esau said unto his father, Has I but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered, and at this point he was old, his sight had all just about gone. And, he was on his way out. It says, And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, meaning you have the best when it comes to where you're going to live and all that. And who does that fit, people? And of the dew of heaven from above. And how is he going to be able to do this? Verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Now ye understand this is parabolic speak. Alright, because some idiots had want to associate this with Esau being Ishmael, and that's not the case. In other words, the Arabs. Alright, no, this means that, his blessing is really, when you go to Revelation 6 and 4, it tells you about what? About that, again, making reference to this, about he was giving that sword, alright? And this is how he would wage war in the earth. You gotta understand, because of this blessing, everyone has to come to these Edomites to learn war, especially when it comes to weapons. Alright, this is why they come over here to go to school. This is why they, go to his institutions of learning. Alright. No one has the weapons like these Edomites, whether it be Russia, whether it be Germany, whether it be America. Alright. They all have to come up under him. That's a blessing. Alright. Anyway, 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Alright, because if you read in the scriptures. King David, the Israelites, even with Saul, all right, they were always at odds with Edom, all right. Hated. I mean, just when you get into these scriptures, you know, it tells you all the history. Mortal enemy, once again, by definition, one that's trying to kill you, someone who hates very much and for a long time. All right, come on here. Let's see. Free dictionary. All right. And that's the sad part about this. We say an enemy who wants to kill you. The sad thing about this, Jake goes to someone like this always for advice, and takes his word as, you know, that's why you shouldn't put any faith in his learning institutions and all this, because ultimately that is done. All right, all you're doing is helping him. All right, you're not building anything for yourselves. Let's see. He wants to do that. That keeps coming. It says foe enemy. Let's see. I think the Urban Dictionary is the one I was actually looking for. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I think you get the idea. But it had an interesting. Let's see. I had to put it in from a long time ago. See if it's still there. Alright, mortal enemy, here it is. Let's see. A lifelong enemy where you your enemyship is so strong that over the years the two of you have, no, that's the wrong one. Mortal enemies, alright. Let's see. That's, let's see. The hell did that come from? No, this is not the one I was familiar with, because it gave the example of two brothers. See, this is why. Alright, it's a good thing. Let's see. Nah. Whole different thing. Anyway, I think you get it. Let's see, slang minute. Let's see. Mortal enemies is a term that refers to individuals or groups who have an intense hatred and animosity towards each other. That's Jacob and Esau. These are not just regular enemies, but rather the kind of enemies who will go to extreme lengths to destroy each other. But in the case of this, it's been one-sided. Where are the curses, right? They are willing to do whatever it takes to see the other person suffer. And that goes into this video because you voted for this asshole. Alright, knowing for the most part, and a lot of you will deny this, but a lot of you knew he was a scumbag. But again, this comes back. How are we going to hurt these niggers? You fell for the lie that we were the only ones, and the majority at that are the ones on welfare. And all the country's ills we were responsible for. People such as myself, we were responsible for. Now that everything was taken from you, I mean, you're going to get a brief respite here until next year, January. But you're finding out that you were lied to about that. And for that, well, I'll say that. Let's just go through this.
Trump has been successful on some parts of his agenda, People are not feeling tangible change when it comes to the economy, and the clock is ticking, and people's pockets are getting thinner. And I think that the New York City mayoral election was a major wake-up call to the administration, because now, over the last week since Mamdani won, it seems like the Trump administration is frantically trying to make moves to make Americans happy and keep them in Republicans' pockets. But I'm sorry, as a young person, as somebody who is in Gen Z, who will live to see the ramifications of these policies, I'm out.
At least she owned it, right? She's like, hey, I propped this guy up. I created this Frankenstein monster. But then she's like, I'm out. Like, she just kicks a hole in the speaker and jets. Like, what? You made this mess and now you're just gonna bounce? What?
Exactly.
Who does this? Don't invite her to your party. Okay, so in the last clip, she kind of hinted at the things she's taking issue with, which are 50-year mortgages, and trying to give everyone a $2,000 check, as that's going to cause inflation. We're going to hear her talking about the previous time that happened with COVID. Let's take a look.
Gave relief in the interim, but we now know, as many people were saying at that point, that it spurred inflation. And now, 3 years later, in a seemingly desperate attempt to get the economy back on track and make people breathe a little easier and feel better, like he promised, Trump is floating the idea of $2,000 stimulus checks for all Americans, I think making under $75,000 or $150,000 together in a dual income home from his tariff revenue, which in my opinion just seems like a recipe for accelerating our inflation rate even more when it is still so incredibly high. His admin is also throwing out the idea of 50-year mortgages to help struggling Americans get into the housing market and have lower payments. 50-year mortgages. We're not going to get the rates down. We're not going to lower prices, nothing like that. No, you are just going to be in debt longer. That also means that if you bought a $500,000 house in 2025 with the current interest rates, at the end of those 50 years, you would have spent $1.5 million on that house.
And so quickly, let's touch on the math that she ended with, and that's...
Which benefits who? His cronies. His fellow billionaires. You fucking idiots. Now, having said that, let's go to what LBJ said. This is Lyndon Baines Johnson. Let's see if we're gonna get that fucking picture up here, motherfucker. Look at this. This motherfucker. After Kennedy was assassinated. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. And that's exactly, you're being played. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican, they're working together. I mean, you hit... Wow.
Correct. If you were to buy a $500,000 house, you'd be paying $1 million in interest over the life of the 50-year loan. But again, all of this speaks to the complex solutions that are going to be needed to fix these complex problems. And it's interesting she mentions Zoran, while also taking a jab that his ideas aren't going to work. This just demonstrates how she doesn't understand mixed economies, capitalism. But in order for those houses to come down in price, they need to be subsidized, and that needs to be funded by taxes on the rich. Everything they're trying to do in New York. Now, while Brett says that she's out, she's not fully ready to call out the bullshit. She still puts a little bit of the spin on it, as we see here in this clip, where she says this is happening on both sides.
In the Win with Zen sweepstakes, you can get a chance to win $100,000. But there's more than one way to win with Zen. Here's how it works.
Let's take a look.
And why are people saying they're anxious about the economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We have, we will have over $20 trillion come into our economy, and it's largely because of my election, but it's also largely because of tariffs.
This is happening from both sides. It is so tiresome. Like, are you not exhausted yet? I am exhausted.
Not only that, but at times it really feels like she's doing our job for us. She actually found this amazing clip on Fox News where they're talking about how prices in the U.S. have gone up. Let's take a look.
Prices are up in the United States for coffee. It's up almost 20%. Utility, up 11.7%. And then electricity is up 5.1%, and vehicle repair, if you need your car fixed, it's up 11.5%.
Now, it's even going to get crazier because in the next clip, she's going to say, hey, we're not in this for the culture war. We don't want to own the libs.
Like, what are we doing? We're sending money overseas. We're fighting online over Israel and Ukraine. We're fighting over how much more debt we can get our country into. We are renovating the White House. Like, young people, I'm sorry, do not care. We genuinely do not. Like, at this rate, the quote-unquote culture war is not even appealing. Like, people my age do not care about owning the libs. We care about owning homes. That is what my generation cares about.
Again, really just very impressive gymnastics and trying to, like, walk things back in just amazing ways in this one video. And again, this is a trend we're seeing online of a bunch of commentators from the right really turning on Donald Trump and trying to save face almost. But it's not just Brett Cooper or heavy-duty country that are turning on Donald Trump. We're going to see Brett here reading a tweet that is expressing the kind of emotional roller coaster that MAGA has been on. Let's take a look.
People are just exhausted. But that wasn't always the case. I mean, we had about 3 glorious months of unity and revolutionary spirit after the election, but that's done. This person on X, Drunk Republican, summed up everything that so many people are feeling. They wrote, I remember well the night of the last presidential election. I'm sorry, this is a long post, but stick with me. It's important. Trump's victory represented the greatest redemption arc of my lifetime, and it felt like we all played a part. The energy was unmistakable. It was as close to a revolution as most of us will get. A true democratic rebuke of an out-of-touch, corrupt government. It was only a matter of time before we turned the country around. For a brief second, it felt like we might. The market soared, companies promised new jobs stateside, and Doge uncovered waste and fraud daily. But the dream suddenly soured. Almost out of nowhere, the administration pivoted from policies aimed at generational prosperity to those associated with perpetual poverty. 15-year car loans, 50-year mortgages, $2,000 stimulus checks, hardly the stuff of a golden age, unless you own banks that finance this stuff. And as prices once again rise, the president is insisting that we are better off than ever. It is insulting to so many, especially after living...
Don't you just love it? I know I do. I love seeing them squirm. This is Psalms 118. And 8. It is better to trust in the Most High than to put confidence in man. It is better to put trust in the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, than to put confidence in princes. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's stay in Psalms. This is not even your first mistake. Let's see. This is Psalms. Look at here. What's the heading? Put not your trust in princes. Alright. This is Psalm 146 and 3. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Not from man. And you hear how arrogant this guy is. Like I said, he's failed at just about everything. But see, they know they have avenues, all right, that they can exploit that we can't. You know, they play the credit game. I mean, when you're on a level like that, it's like broke to them is something completely different. All right, they can always obtain, you know, lines of credit where, you know, the average Joe, you're screwed. And that's how they live. All right. It's a whole different world with those people. And yet, his ass was in a sling. I have to go back to what I said earlier about the questions you should have asked. I'm talking about the idiots that voted for this guy. How did he get out of all that legal trouble? Who pulled his fat out of the fire, so to speak?
Living through the laughable denials of the previous administration. I am one of the biggest Trump supporters on the planet, and I say this out of genuine concern. This is a recipe for defeat, not only in the midterms, but for 2028 and onwards as well. I don't want to be a panican, but I also don't want to piss away the last chance we have to turn this country around. The president desperately needs people to be honest with him about the situation on the ground. His victory last November feels like 1,000 years ago, and the statements coming from his staff are unrecognizable from the usual DC claptrap they supposedly ran against. Millennials and Gen Zers are hurting, and together, they represent the largest voting bloc in the country, and they will remain so for years to come. There are better ways to make life affordable, and young people want and deserve an economy that allows them to flourish. Once they acquire a taste for free shit, there will be no going back. The American dream will officially be dead, and millions of voters will forever associate MAGA with its decline.
So we can see they're not going to change their core ideals, and there's still a lot of brainwashing taking place, but they slowly are starting to wake up. Speaking out against the cult leader is a very big deal. Let's see what happens next.
Leopards are eating my face.
So there you have it. Let's get this part. Let's see. Prices. I'm gonna skip forward here, but she already covered that. Here it is.
For American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people
no, you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people.
Listen to that. No, you don't. No, you don't. What? What are you?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well, I'll give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea.
What did he just tell you, in effect tell you? Remember a certain individual that got in trouble because the comment that he made? I mean, he got dogged. He was right. And I'm talking about, a certain Elamite. I gotta put it like this. Look here.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which actually fits the test. I'm not going to.
Let's see. Here it is.
Department of Government Efficiency heads Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are running damage control amid a debate on H-1B visas. Vivek Ramaswamy criticized American culture, claiming it values mediocrity over excellence. In a post, he argued the US tech industry hires more foreign-born engineers due to a cultural decline, where kids prioritize popularity over academic or technical achievement. He believes this trend leads to fewer Americans pursuing careers in engineering, contributing to a shortage of talent. Ramaswamy suggested a culture reset sparked by Donald Trump's election could revive the focus on hard work, achievement, and technical skills. His comments sparked a backlash, particularly from Trump supporters. Some accused him of insulting American culture. Department of Government Efficiency heads Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are running damage control amid a debate on H-1B visas.
So,
Vivek Ramaswamy.
And again, it's people like this that always come at us on behalf of their, their attack dogs. For us, of course. So it's good to see him get his comeuppance, all right. But let's see, did I have anything else? Yeah, the H-1B visa. I already went over that. You you just heard him say, let's see. What did I do? Let's see.
That made batteries all their lives. Making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years.
He's talking about what happened down in Georgia. He's talking about what happened down in Georgia, I believe, where this racist Karen, called immigration. And what actually was going on, you had people from South Korea that were over here trying to teach Americans how to do certain things. They were setting up a plant, and she called immigration. Now, last I heard, they were thinking about, calling their people back and just saying fuck it. But I guess they worked something out. See, this is the thing. It never gets old with, these people, they talk about us self-destructing. But a lot of this is, jealousy and envy of Jake. They can't help it. And yet a lot of you Jakes want to stay here. It is, I don't even have words for it. A few more scriptures here and I'll close out. But like I say, this by and large is dang, hold on just a second. Let's go real quick. Proverbs 13:3. Alright, Proverbs 13:3. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. Alright? Yeah, you went all out here like, these niggers are lazy and all this other shit, and the history of people such as yourselves is all about rape, robbery, and murder. Alright? There's really nothing constructive about your history. You exploit, abuse. Alright, let's go to Matthew 7, and it says, alright, ask and it shall be given you, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be open unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be open. Alright, but with you people, verse 9, or what man is there of you whom if his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Alright. Or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? And the answer with Edom is yes. Alright. That's all he's ever done. Alright. As the scripture says, never trust thine enemy. Alright. 11. If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father, which is in heaven, give good things to them that ask him? But see, you people are bastards. That's why you have to resort to the tactics, alright, that you do. Alright, and it tells you that in Hebrews 12th chapter. All right, verse 6 through 11, I think it is. You're not being chastised. All right, and because of that, as Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, you think this is you think the Most High is on your side when it's the opposite. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. All right, and it tells you, hold on, because sentence against an evil work, which is all you've done, is not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil, and oh, the evil that you do, all throughout the world. All right, and I mean, Guy and which is the land itself, which it tells you that's those who destroy the earth, you know, he's going to destroy them in Revelation 11 and 18. All right, but oikomene too, you know, all the people that you've done wickedness to. All right, so you're not getting out of this. All right, as it says in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, Edom, which you so-called white people are, you're the nation of Edom. You are the only neighbor of the Israelites that will be shown no mercy by the Most High Yahweh. None. All right.
And they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
But see, all these people are scared, really. All right, because all the lies they've told, all the wickedness they're being exposed globally. All right, and the only way for them to go is down. That's it. They're having these celestial events, these sightings. That's really got them spooked because they fired one of their Hellfire missiles. So we're going to take this UFO out. And all it did was bounce off. Yeah. Yeah. So they thought themselves being the, you know, top dog, the apex predator, so to speak. Oh, no. No. There's all kind of scriptures on how you're going to be brought low. And it's not going to take that long. Not at all. So with that, I hope whoever views this video, of course, has been edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone as to what's going on in the world, filtered through the scriptures. And as such, you know that we really, hey, time is short. All right, so, hey, quit. If you're on that fence, I suggest you get off that fence. Repent and get your affairs in order because, hey, any moment now, you're seeing this perfect storm when it comes to these prophecies, you know, and these events matching up to it. And you know this MOTB is being, hey, more and more, day by day, it's coming out. And it's being made plain, most of all, for all of you that are still stuck on stupid. Alright, so with that, once again, be circumspect out here. Keep your eyes open. Alright, because it's only going to get worse from here on out. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.